Yo, what's going on, guys? It's G Miners here. In this video, we're going to be going over what I honestly think might be overall one of the best Strand builds we currently have access to, which is an infinite Suspend build on Hunters. If you haven't checked out my recent Warlock video, which I put out first, I will have a link to that in the description below. But unique to Hunters, they really seem to specialize in their Suspend capabilities, which actually feels pretty good in endgame content. Most of the gameplay in this video had me at -20, and even with that and no healing methods on Strand or any healing throughout my mods, the survivability of the build was still great. Anytime you suspend an enemy, it's going to fully immobilize them and suspend them in air, making them an easy target for crits, and the immobilization lasts an extremely long period of time. With this full build setup, we're going to have 4 ability charges that can suspend, plus our dodge will pretty much have a 100% uptime, which means we can spam these to suspend enemies at any point. I think this will actually end up being a pretty decent build long term, just because of the champion stunning capabilities and the on-demand crowd control. I'm going to be going over the full subclass setup, exotics, mods, and more. So if you guys do enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like and sub down below. And I do also stream over on Twitch if you want to watch live over there too. Starting with the subclass first, we don't have a ton of options until the remaining fragments are unlocked. For our super, we're going to be on Silk Strike. This is a roaming super which deals single target damage with the light attack and an AoE swing with the heavy attack. For my dodge, I chose to run Marksman. As you will see, the melee is pretty cheeks on Strand Hunter, so no reason to run Gambler's Dodge. The melee itself is going to be Threaded Spike, which severs enemies that it hits. The dart does also return to you when the melee is done, and by hitting the melee button again, you get energy back, but overall the damage is pretty bad. Lastly, for the build, I chose to run Shackle Grenade, which is going to suspend a group of ads that it comes in contact with in the air. Since we aren't on grapple grenades, Widow Silk, which is our first aspect, is just used to give us 2 grenade charges. So in total, we have 2 ability uses now that we can suspend with. And then Ensnaring Slam is going to allow us to convert our dodge into an air move. The air move is going to be a dive towards the ground where all nearby enemies are then suspended, making this our 3rd total ability that can suspend, and eventually this will also get a 2nd charge, giving us 4 suspend uses in total. Fragment wise, you want to go with everything focused on suspending enemies. First is going to be Thread of Ascent. You're forced to buy this fragment, and honestly none of the other fragments available right now are great for Hunters. This gives increased handling and AE when using our grenade, while also reloading our equipped weapon. Thread of Mind is great on this build. Getting kills on suspended targets grants class ability energy. This seems to be around 20% per enemy we kill, but I'm not sure on the exact number. Thread of Warding is going to give us Woven Mail anytime we grab an Orb of Power, which is 10 seconds of damage reduction. And then lastly, Thread of Wisdom will create Orbs of Power for precision final blows against suspended enemies. This is going to be great for mods we use and for also getting Woven Mail. Hopping over into the mod selection screen, I'm going to be going over everything that I'm currently running on the build and why I'm running each mod specifically. Starting with my helmet, I have on Double Dynamo. This is going to give us super energy whenever we use our class ability near enemies. Since we do use this directly on top of enemies to suspend them, this is a no-brainer mod to use, and nothing else really seemed worth it here. I do also have Void Siphon on for my funnel web so that I can generate Orbs of Power on double kills. On my arms, I have on Bolstering Detonation. This grants class ability energy when dealing grenade damage, so we just get more dodge uptime with this. And then even though it doesn't come into play that much, I do also have Firepower to grant Orbs of Power on grenade final blows. This obviously isn't going to happen much with the Shackle Grenade, but it can in easier content. On my chest piece, I'm just running resistance mods, but this is also 6th Coyote. So with this, I get a 2nd dodge charge for running the exotic, giving me 2 of the suspend air moves. On my boots, I have 2 copies of Stacks on Stacks, which will make it so that anytime I grab 1 Orb of Power, I get 3 stacks of armor charge. This is a pretty niche thing to do, but I set the legs up this way because of my class item. On my class item, I am running Utility Finisher. This consumes 3 stacks of armor charge whenever doing a finisher, but it fully refunds my class ability, which allows me to spam the suspend dives. And then I do also have on Empowered Finish. This makes finisher final blows grant 1 armor charge whenever we're out of armor charges. This way I can do a finisher and get back up to ×3 charge immediately. It seems like a lot of finishers overall, but I find finishers pretty useful in harder content. Obviously, getting orbs with Void Siphon is much better, but this method is just a backup. I honestly think a lot of the gameplay speaks for itself. I found this way more enjoyable than even playing Warlock, and I'm a Warlock main. The build had really good uptime on abilities, and realistically, I think Suspend is the only thing that could be meta about the Strand subclass. Picking this up against enemies while under power, and especially against champions, made it feel extremely strong. The major downside is that there is no healing on the build, but being able to suspend tankier enemies or even large groups of adds at the press of a button is extremely useful. Six Coyote was an easy choice of an exotic, but I think something like Assassin's Cal could be super useful with the invis and the healing that we get on finishers. Definitely interesting to see what else Strand is going to be good for in the next 2 weeks as we get some more of the fragments. Like I said, I don't think Strand will be the best subclass to run, but it's definitely super fun to play around with now. Let me know your thoughts on the build in the comments below, and also which class you guys have been enjoying the most. I stream a bunch over on Twitch where my team will be doing the day 1 raid race if you want to watch over there. More builds to come over the next few weeks as well, so make sure to sub if you aren't already. Anyways, that's all for this video. As always, have a good one, guys. Peace.